Hey everybody, it's Jason with HEPA Jeep. Today we're going to be changing the front hubs on a 96 Cherokee. The bearings and the hubs are all one unit. Not real difficult, a little time consuming, but we're going to go in there and get those changed up to try and get rid of this grinding vibration problem thing I'm having. Okay, to get at them, first we have to get the brake calipers off. There's two, I think they're half inch, they're not metric, they're half-inch bolts that are just holding caliper on. So you're going to loosen those up. And they're going to look just like this, and once you pull those out, there's two of them, the caliper should slide off. You can take a pry bar or hopefully a screwdriver. Yeah, and then you don't want to leave this hanging, so I'm just going to take a bungee and hang it on the, I guess, the coil spring up here. So, but that's hanging by the bungee and not the brake line. So, that's good. Now we need to get the rotor off. And since it seems quite on here pretty good, we're just going to give it a couple of taps, not on the braking surface. And there she comes. Of course my camera dies out after I use the impact wrench to get this off, but yeah, an impact wrench really helps with that nut. And then all I'm going to do is just give this a little tap. Actually, I'm going to put this nut back in and just give it just a little tap to make sure it'll free up from the bearing, which I can already tell it is. So now we're to these bolts in here, which look really corroded, and I may let these sit with some penetrating oil for a while because they just do not look good. So I'll hit it with this. This is the acetone transmission fluid homemade brew. So I'll hit it with that and take a wire wheel to it, and then we get into the fun. Sometimes fun. You need a 12-point socket or 12-point wrench. I believe it's 13 millimeter. Yes, it's a 13 millimeter. So I'm just going to let those sit for a little bit with the penetrating oil, though, because they actually bolt in to here. They go all the way through to the back, but these are where the threads are grabbing the hub. So this is where you need to, if you're going to have to heat them, this is where you're going to heat them, things like that. So my camera needed to go get recharged while I was working on the hub. And I would love to have come out here and told you, hey, look, I was going to put it all together and show you how you take these bolts out from behind real easy like. And I've watched a lot of videos of people taking the hubs off, and they never make it look real hard. And so I thought, I'll just do the same thing. I'll loosen everything up, get the hub in here, take it off, put it back together, and just kind of show you how easy it is to take off. Well, this was not easy to take off. Now, I did them on my daughter's 1990 Jeep. There's a video about that, and that was a Florida vehicle, so there was no rust. This is 6 years newer than hers, but it has been in Michigan all its life, and it was just one major royal pain in the bootay. Okay, since I missed it on the other side, I thought I would show you what I'm doing here on this side with got a 12-point socket, half-inch drive on a breaker bar here. I already screwed up one ratchet on the other side and broke my wrench, but I went and got a replacement, but I don't want to break this one, so we're trying it with we picked up the bigger socket. But I am just heating, so we're going to fast forward while I'm just torching it here, and then we'll see if we can break it free. Now she's moving. There we go. Chisel, putting it right in along here. There's three spots where the bolts go, so I'm just doing it right there, and it'll eventually work its way free. And I also destroyed most of the bolts in the process. I mean, it was a nightmare getting those off, and destroyed all the threads on a few of them. So I had to go out and find new bolts. But it was Saturday night last night. Today is Sunday morning. I gave up last night after I got home from finding the bolts. But you know, no dealership is open, so I can't go get them there. Fastenal wasn't open, which I know I could have found them at Fastenal. So I was checking every hardware store in town. Checked all the big box stores, Lowe's and Home Depot and Menards. Couldn't find their 12 millimeter 1.75 thread pitch. These I got, I think these are 90 millimeter. They're just a hair shorter than the original bolts, but I don't know if you can see it on the camera. The actual thread that is going to bite into the hub ends there. So this is still going to stick out of the hub. You know, it's still going to bite more than it needs to. Alright, so here's the new hub. We're going to slide that on there. Try to get it lined up as best we can. Now I have to go with the new bolts, like I said, and we're going to try and recycle one of them. Hopefully we can make this all work. And then the torque spec for these bolts is 75 foot-pounds. And then I got to put the axle nut back on. So first that big washer, then the nut, and the torque specs on this nut is 175 foot-pounds, but unless you put the wheel back on, you can't do it with it on the ground. So I'm going to put that back on. Stick a screwdriver in there, and hopefully that will let me torque it. All I can do is go to 150 pounds and then snug it up a tad more, because that's as high as my torque wrench will go. So there's 150. Then I'll take a breaker bar and just go a little more. This is supposed to be 175. So there we go. And put that little keeper back on. So if you're going to replace your brakes, now would be a great time to do it, but looks like these pads still have some decent life left in them. And there we go. Alrighty, well, one test drive later, and the hubs seem to be great. If you'd like to see a video where I not only change the hubs but change the U-joints in the front axles, you can click right around here somewhere and it'll take you to that as well. I did it all together. I just broke it up into 2 videos here just to keep it shorter, but you can check that video out as well if you want to see the U-joints in the front axles. Don't forget to subscribe, please. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers, and you can check us out on Facebook. You can check us out online at heapajeep.com. We're also on Twitter, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.